Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
The American Civil War ended in 1865, but the battle for civil rights and racial justice was far from over. The Reconstruction Era, 1865 to 1877, was meant to heal the wounds of the nation and establish new political and social norms, particularly in the South, where the abolition of slavery disrupted the deeply entrenched racial hierarchy. However, it also became a time of violent backlash, as white supremacists resisted the new order. One of the most harrowing and tragic episodes of this period was the Colfax Massacre of 1873, an event that exposed the deep racial animosities still seething beneath the surface of the American South. This brutal attack in Grant Parish, Louisiana, left dozens of African-American men dead and sent a chilling message that equality, in the eyes of many white Southerners, would not be tolerated. The massacre not only highlighted the fragility of black political power during Reconstruction, but also set a dangerous precedent for racial violence and legal impunity in the United States for decades to come. The origins of the Colfax Massacre can be traced back to the disputed Louisiana gubernatorial election of 1872. A contest that reflected the broader struggle between radical Republicans who sought to extend rights to black citizens and conservative Democrats who aimed to restore white dominance. The results of the election were heavily contested, with both Republican William P. Kellogg and Democrat John McHenry claiming victory. Amidst this political turmoil, tensions escalated in Grant Parish, a predominantly black area where Republicans had taken control. The local government seat in Colfax became a flashpoint for conflict as freedmen, fearing the return of white supremacy, took up arms to defend their rights and the legitimacy of the Republican administration. White Democrats, unwilling to accept black political power, gathered a militia and launched a ruthless attack on the black defenders of the Colfax courthouse. On April 13, 1873, Easter Sunday, hundreds of armed white supremacists, including former Confederate soldiers and members of the White League, descended upon Colfax. The black defenders, numbering around 150, had fortified themselves within a courthouse, prepared for a standoff. The siege began with exchanges of gunfire, but the heavily armed white militia quickly gained the upper hand. When the courthouse was set ablaze, many of the black men inside surrendered, hoping for mercy. Instead, they were executed in cold blood. Those who attempted to flee were hunted down and slaughtered. The final death toll remains uncertain, but estimates range from 60 to over 150 African Americans killed. Only 3 white attackers died in the confrontation. The aftermath of the massacre was as disturbing as the violence itself. Despite the clear evidence of a racially motivated mass killing, justice was never served. Federal authorities arrested and charged several of the white participants under the Enforcement Acts, which were designed to combat Ku Klux Klan violence and protect black citizens' rights. However, the legal proceedings quickly unraveled. The case eventually reached the U.S. Supreme Court in United States v. Cruikshank, 1876, where the justices ruled that the federal government lacked the power to prosecute individuals for civil rights violations unless the state itself had been involved in the wrongdoing. This decision effectively nullified federal protections for black Americans and emboldened white supremacists across the South, signaling that racial violence would go largely unpunished. The Colfax Massacre was a turning point in Reconstruction. It demonstrated that the federal government's commitment to protecting black citizens was wavering in the face of violent white resistance. The massacre also set the stage for the rise of Jim Crow laws, as Southern states, emboldened by the Supreme Court's ruling, systematically disenfranchised black voters and established legal segregation. The event, though one of the deadliest racial massacres in American history, was largely forgotten for many decades, buried under the weight of whitewashed narratives and historical amnesia. Today, the Colfax Massacre is recognized as a defining moment in the struggle for racial justice in the United States. A small memorial in Colfax marks the site of the courthouse, though even this marker was originally inscribed in a way that honored the white attackers rather than the black victims. Historians and activists continue to work to shed light on this dark chapter, ensuring that the memory of those who perished in the fight for their rights is not erased. The massacre serves as a stark reminder of the violent resistance to Black progress and the long, painful road toward true equality. The echoes of Colfax reverberate through American history, offering lessons that remain painfully relevant in the ongoing struggle for civil rights today.